And welcome to the Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair. And Murphy, we're past the halfway point of this football season, and it seems like it has flown by.
One more month and it's playoff time, and these last 4 weeks are going to be really, 4 or 5 weeks are going to be really interesting as teams battle not only for a playoff slot, but one at home where they don't have to travel those first couple of weeks.
Murphy, to finish in the top two, I think is a great advantage. I don't know what the percentage is, but every year when you look at the playoffs, those teams that host, what, 80% probably win those first round
pretty
games?
Close, but every year there's always a number 4 that beats a number 1 too.
Right.
So you never know who it's going to work for and who it will not.
Let's go ahead and look at the KFC Taco Bell of Gordonsville and Smithville stats of the week. And when you look, DeKalb County, a big win over their rival, Cannon County, 49-7. DeKalb County, Murphy, just really, when you look down those stats, dominated, especially in the rushing yards, 382 yards on 37 carry. That's nearly 11 yards or 10 and a half yards a pop. They really got it done on the ground.
Well, they did, and the stats are just as dominating as the score. Cannon County with only 4 first downs, and DeKalb County 24. It's a great rivalry, but as they used to say about the Kentucky-Tennessee game or the Tennessee-Alabama game, it's not a great rivalry unless the won-loss ratios are close to each other. And I think that's what now, 12 of the last 13 or 14 that DeKalb County has won.
Let's go ahead and look at some more stats from that game. Individuals, Isaac Knowles, you know, he's just a great athlete. 3 for 7 for 84 yards, a couple of touchdowns, throwing it and then also rushing it. Of course, we're used to seeing him catch 2 or 3 touchdowns a game and have 100 to 150 yards, but just shows you what quality of player he is.
He really is. As he goes, so goes DeKalb County's football game, and obviously he's been having a great senior year. And DeKalb County, I think they only have 1 loss. Isn't that right?
I believe that's right. You look at Nathaniel Crook, a big night, 10 rushes for 109 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Kobe Barnes, 7 rushes, 114 yards. You know, that's 15 yards a clip. You got John Ellis, 1 reception for 46 yards and a TD. For the Lions, Dallas Roller leading the way, 4 rushes for 63 yards, a touchdown. And Ryan Perkins, 14 rushes for 33 yards. But Murphy, when you look at those stats and the great start that DeKalb got off to, you know, sometimes when you're playing, you play down to your competition, but I felt like the Coach Trapp's team really came out focused, ready to play, and put that best foot forward and kind of put their foot on the gas early. I
agree. I think Steve does a great job of preparing his team for whatever the competition may be, whether it's a game that he knows he's going to win rather handily or one that the other team could win just as well. I think he does a really good job of getting inside the head of his players.
Next game we're going to look at, a defensive struggle, a little more low-scoring, Murphy, than you and I thought. Watertown going to Baxter and playing against Upperman. And Watertown, I know, had 1 or 2 touchdowns called back. And even, I mean, was driving late, I think, in the 4th quarter to try to tie that ball game up. But Upperman, another solid defensive performance, winning that football game 16-8. Murphy.
That's got to please any coach, but especially at Upperman, right. He does such a great job, especially on the defensive side of the ball, as you said. And the lower you keep the score from the opposition, the better your chances are of winning.
And that's kind of been Adam Kane's feather in his hat when he was at Sequatchie, and then moving up to Baxter to coach the Bees.
Yeah, a former college coach who coached at mostly the Division II and Division III level, but he told me years ago when he first started at Sequatchie, he got tired of living out of a suitcase, and they really like living in Putnam County.
You look at Braden Cousineau for Watertown, 14 of 22, 122 yards. Kwame C, 5 rushes for 16 yards and a score. Brett Price, 3 receptions for 46 yards to lead the Purple Tigers. Then Upperman, a very familiar name, and Ty Duchess, 72 yards passing, 71 yards rushing. Jackson Rollins, 14 rushes for 40 yards, a couple touchdowns. 8 tackles, 1 sack, and a fumble recovery. Looking at Smith County traveling down to Hartsville to play against Trousdale County. Trousdale County jumps out to a 26-3 lead. In fact, Smith County had tied or cut it, I think, maybe to 7-3. But Trousdale County you know, uses that speed, and that's something Smith County just could not contain.
Now, there's an old adage that goes back a long, long way about high school football. It's 2 words: speed kills. Yeah. And obviously, Trousdale County's loaded up with it again.
When you look at Smith County, Bryce Curry leading the way, 13 rushes, 115 yards, a touchdown, also 1 reception for 19 yards. Jaden Evans, the freshman, 7 rushes for 60 yards. But Trousdale County just has so many weapons. Bryson Claiborne, I mean, he is so quick that Smith County just, you know, on anything to the wide side of the field or just a small little crease, Murphy, and as you can look, 8 rushes for 152 yards, nearly 20 yards of rush, and 4 touchdowns. I mean, he just had a dominating performance.
Obviously, you know, as long as I can remember, there's always been a Harper on the Trousdale County roster. Almost as long as I can remember, there's been a Claiborne or a Gregory.
And when you look at Harper, of course, you know, the defensive lineman, he wreaked havoc all night for the Jackets being in the Owls backfield. Cole Gregory, Murphy, he runs low, got a low center of gravity, and a lot of times it would take 2 and 3 Owls to try to get this young man down. 18 rushes for 94 yards, but he just has amazing stamina when you look at the way I think he's a sophomore, runs the football. You look at Calhoun, their quarterback, you know, didn't complete a pass, but time after time after time, Murphy, we see Trousdale County little to no passing yards, and they're able to run it, and everybody in the stadium knows they're able to run it. So that's just a feather in the hat to Coach Satterfield.
You know, you said he had no completions, but if you had worded that another way, you could say he only had 1 incompletion because he only threw 1 pass, right?
That is true. Let's go ahead and look at Gordonsville going on the road in a top 10 matchup at Coalfield. And Murphy, we thought this one would be a little bit closer, but the Tiger defense on display, 86 total yards the entire night for the Yellow Jackets at Coalfield. A lot of Gordonsville people traveled up there. You could tell that on the radio broadcast for Gordonsville. Matthew Albritton, big night, 10 for 15, 151 yards, 13 rushes for 18 yards and a touchdown. Kanan Musgrove, kind of a breakout game for him, 15 rushes for 97 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And then Landon Baker, 4 receptions for 90 yards and also had a rush for 2 yards. But, you know, Gordonsville continues to roll, Murphy, and you know, they're solidly in that top 10 in single A in the state.
I think they're probably solidly in the top 5, Terry. That score really speaks volumes because Coalfield has put, I think, 40 or 50 points on the board in a couple of earlier games this year. And for them to be shut out, that just tells you how strong that Tiger defense is.
Murphy, you know, a good thing that happened in that game, of course, unfortunately, due to COVID, Coalfield lost their coach. Coach Clemons and him were real close. And so after the game, Coalfield fixes a meal for Gordonsville's players and eat. You know, they have a nice time eating there. The son of the head coach was there, and even his daughter fixed, they said, some kind of great dessert for him to eat. So I think the history of these two teams probably going to see each other a lot.
I would hope so. It's a classy place to go, and even before the loss of Keith Henry, you go back before that, Gary Chris, who also was a dear friend of mine, and he was taken away much too early in his life. A great UT football player, the guy to score the first touchdown on turf at Neyland Stadium, excuse me. But Coalfield, a very special place in my heart, as is Gordonsville, and 2 quality programs that just continue year after year to put out good football teams.
We'll look at the region scores and standings when we return to the box score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
There's no shortage of real estate companies out there, but there's only one Blackwell Realty and Auction. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction has the knowledge and the experience necessary to help you. They understand that real estate sales happen because of the hours of work they put into every sale, whether representing you as the buyer, the seller, or both. Get started today the Kirby way. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction. Call them today or visit blackwellrealtyandauction.com. Near Star Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for master maintenance technicians, maintenance trainer, electricians, miners, mill operators, mill technicians, warehouse attendant, business analyst, mine supervisor, and other amazing opportunities. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and much more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Near Star Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
Powell & Meadows Insurance, in business since 1894, provides knowledgeable and personal service to our clients. One call puts you in touch with a local agent who will help you shop from a variety of top companies. At Powell & Meadows Insurance Agency, we work for you. Call today or visit us online anytime.
We are here to help you. Let us show you what customer service is all about. Give us a call today.
Welcome back to the Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team. Let's go ahead and look at our Sonic scores of Carthage coming up for Region 4 1A. Clay County, another close game for Westmoreland. Murphy, it seems like that's been the tale of the season for them. They lose 21-14 in what, when I talked to people, said it was a great football game.
Well, I'm sure it was. Westmoreland, a whole lot better football team than what its record shows. But that also shows that maybe Clay County is a little better than we think. Although last year when they came into Gordonsville for that final regular season game, that was the thought, and I thought Gordonsville pretty well handled them last year. We'll have to see here in a few more weeks.
East Robinson, a big win over Joe Burns, and Whitwell really getting it on against Red Bull and Springs with that 44-point win.
That's a little deceiving though. Whitwell, I think that may be the only win they have thus far this season, I think.
Region 4 2A scores, Sonic of Carthage bringing those to you. Cheatham County, a big win over Whites Creek, 30-14. And then a close one, Harpeth edges McEwen by 2.
McEwen, a team that up until a couple of years ago really didn't have a whole lot to be proud of. But the last couple of years, they've played really, really hard. And Harpeth starting to get more kids out than they have at Kingston Springs, just the other side of Nashville if you're going west on the interstate. But I know they're glad to get a mark in the win column however they get it.
Region 4 3A scores. Of course, Page gets the win over Giles County due to COVID. Sequatchie County in a pretty high-scoring game over Bledsoe County. And Murphy, that's one of those rivalry games. It's not far from Pikeville to Dunlap.
No, not at all. And Sequatchie just seems to get better and better every week. They're playing stronger teams and they're scoring more points. They're going to be a team to contend with, I think, once the postseason gets started.
Of course, Cascade a win over Community 33-14, and then Franklin County over a struggling Grundy County team 34-0. Looking at a Region 5 3A Sonic of Carthage scores, it's Independence over East Nashville 40-18. East Nashville, I still think, is the cream of the crop in Smith County's region. Stratford, a close win over Hunters Lane. Of course, Smith County and Stratford play this week, which could be determining a home playoff berth. Jackson County, a big win over Livingston. That's always been a great rivalry, especially in basketball, Murphy. So Jackson County gets a 21-0 win. And then Friendship, a big win over Maplewood, 38-6. Anything that jumps out there?
The Jackson County win. I know that's a rivalry up there, but Jackson County hasn't had many wins over Livingston over the past few years. But Livingston really struggling right now. They've got a new head coach who's got a lot of young guys just a couple of years out of college, from what I hear, on the coaching staff, and they're just. And they've got a young football team as well, so the youth factor really dominating LA football right now.
Let's go ahead and look at Region 4 4A. Those scores, Macon County a close one over Portland. That game was close the entire way. I was getting updates from that game, and Macon County with a field goal that they'd got, I think, back in the second quarter, wins at 24-21. Stone Memorial, a big win over York. That's developed in pretty good rivalry, not a lot of miles between those schools. Of course, you got to go through Clark Range to get to both of those places. And Cumberland County win over Polk County 24-10.
Clark Range, they don't have a very good football team, do they? But the girls' basketball program is pretty strong, I hear.
Oh, yeah, Janie, she was at the start of that back when they used to climb up on the wall and get the basketball out of the peach baskets. That's been quite a while ago.
You're trying to get in trouble, Terry.
Again. All right, let's look at some scores from around the area. You've got Oakland, big comeback win in the fourth quarter, Murphy. I talked to you at this ball game, and it was at Oakland, and Lipscomb led it 21-14 after 3, but Oakland scores 15 in the final quarter to win it.
One of the greatest high school football games I think I've ever been to. Almost 6,000 people in attendance. Everything about the evening was, in my mind, what high school football should be about. Two great programs and two sets of great fans, great coaching. The whole thing was just over the top. And
it was on Thursday night, which I know added to that crowd.
Somebody asked me why they didn't put that game on TV. I said because there was almost 6,000 people there at $9 a head, so that's a $40,000 or $50,000 gate right there.
Great ball game between Tullahoma and Pearl Cone. It just shows you Tullahoma has got a real team.
They do. I went to that game as well, and Tullahoma was up 21-0 at the half, and they really had to hold on by their fingernails in order to preserve that win. But it was a regional game, and that really puts Tullahoma in the driver's seat as far as that league is concerned.
Mount Juliet, a big rivalry win over Wilson Central. In fact, when Wilson Central was made a school, it drew some of those Mount Juliet kids away, but Mount Juliet gets a close win, 14-7. Gallatin over a struggling Cookville squad, 28-12. Chad Watson's team, the Green Wave, gets the victory, and then NBA in a clash of two private schools in Nashville gets the win over Brentwood Academy.
Not a lot of love lost in that ball game. Right. They hate each other for the most part.
Yeah, I was privileged. Smith County had a bye week, and you and I went to that game.
Sure.
Over at NBA, and that was a good way to put it. Let's go ahead and look at the upcoming games. For Gordonsville, they are hosting a big region game in 4-1A. They play Joe Burns. Joe Burns 3-3, coming off a disappointing loss, and then Clay County at Red Boiling.
Both of those games ought to be pretty one-sided. I think if Clay County is challenged, as is Gordonsville possibly challenged, that would just shock me. I don't see anything but a Gordonsville-Clay County double win there.
Looking at Region 4-2A, Harpeth going to the Creek Bank, playing Charleston County. East Robertson at Watertown. Of course, East Robertson really can't get their stud going. He's been injured for most of the season, and he's quite a weapon there, Murph. And you going to Watertown, Josh Hackett's going to have that defense ready. And when you look at Gavin Webster, they struggled earlier, but they're playing better week by week.
They just need to concentrate on whoever they're playing at the moment. I know the Trousdale County game is on the minds and lips of a lot of Watertown fans, but they just need to take care of business and wait and see how that one happens in the future.
Whites Creek also going up to northern Sumner County and playing Westmoreland. Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4-3A games. County at Grundy County. Community at Sequatchie, and the open dates Giles County. But that Cannon-Grundy game could be a close one.
Really could be. It's a tough trip up to the top of the mountain, but Cannon County can pretty well assure itself of a playoff bid if they can come away with a win. And I think the Lions have got a good shot there. They just got to play solid football from start to finish.
Region 5-3A, looking at the games, East Nashville at Green Hill. A big region game for Smith County, traveling to Nashville to play against Stratford. And Murphy, what a lot of people think could be for second place in the region.
I think you're probably right. Stratford's got plenty of speed, and Smith County showed last week that the speed factor was maybe their Achilles heel, if you will, and Stratford certainly got plenty of it.
Maplewood at Jackson County, that's got a chance to be a very good ball game.
If the people at Maplewood can find Gainesboro, that's a long way from Nashville for sure.
Yeah, that's you're looking at, what, 80, 90 miles probably?
A couple of hours probably.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go ahead and look at our Region 4-4A games. This should be a good one. Macon County at Upman. Will Macon County's passing game of Kyle Shoulders outdo the Upman run game? Of course, Upman can do both, but Upman, I think, has proved to be the more physical team, and I think that's what Adam Kane is going to call on his defense to do, is be physical, rally to the football, don't let them break tackles and get in open space.
Yeah, I think Macon County, obviously, with a strong passing game, has a chance to challenge Upperman in that department, but that's only one department in I think overall, Upperman probably the better team. That could very well be a preview to the regional championship, if you will. I know DeKalb is still in the hunt a little bit, but I don't think DeKalb County will have much trouble at Livingston at all.
When you look at Cumberland County at Stone Memorial, of course that is a big rivalry game, but I think Stone Memorial's got the better squad.
I think so, although Cumberland County may pull one out there. I've been really impressed with their coach, who was an assistant at Monterey before getting the job at Cumberland County, Noah Rapinski. He's a former lineman. He likes that physical style of football also, and that'll be an interesting game to watch the scoreboard for throughout the evening.
Murphy, when you look, there's not many weeks left for the playoffs, and every regional game seems to be magnified, because you could be playing not only to get in the playoffs, but whether you host a playoff game or not.
It always amazes me. These schedules are made out, 6-8 months before the season even begins, and it's amazing to me how many regional championships are always determined in the last 2 weeks of the regular season.
You know, and when you look at it, some teams just wanting to get in the playoffs to try to elevate themselves to another level.
Yeah, especially when they haven't been in a while, and we've got some area teams that are kind of in that boat, but it's a great carrot for the coach to dangle in front of those kids and let them know that they've got a chance to do something that teams before them were unable to do, and hopefully that'll turn out to be the case. I love it when teams get into the playoffs that either haven't been there before or haven't been there in a long, long time.
We'll have an interview with Gordonsville head coach Scott Clemons, and I guarantee you it's going to be a good one. Murphy and I have known him for a long time, even back to his playing days, and Scott's a good interview. We'll have that for you when we return to the Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
The Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition encourages our teenagers to be the positive influence. Stand against the epidemic of opioid and stimulant usage by joining the Youth Coalition #TakeBackTeam. 6% of Smith County students reported misusing prescription drugs. The #TakeBackTeam challenges you to stand outside the stack. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
2 delicious options, 2 convenient locations. So make the entire family happy with just one stop to KFC Taco Bell. Located at 501 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville and 105 East Broad Street in Smithville, we've got you covered at KFC Taco Bell, no matter the food craving. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead, get in the car and kick that hunger to the curb with a quick visit to KFC Taco Bell. Located in Gordonsville and Smithville. Stop by today.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for master maintenance technicians, maintenance trainer, electricians, miners, mill operators, mill technicians, warehouse attendant, business analyst, mine supervisor, and other amazing opportunities. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and much more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
Welcome back to the Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team. And we're honored to have head coach Scott Clemons of the Gordonsville Tigers. And coach, you just keep on rolling.
Well, we take them one at a time, and we've been fortunate enough to keep winning, and that's our plan. Just keep seeing how far we can go, and we got a tough one this week, so we're going to get ready for that.
Coach, I've known you a long time, as has Terry, and we're both very impressed what you've been able to do. But back when you were wearing one of those Gordonsville Tiger uniforms, did you ever, in your wildest dreams, ever think that one day you might be the guy in charge of that program?
No, and I didn't have any idea. I was at Clemons University, and I came up and volunteered with a lift-a-thon, and that's when I decided I want to get into coaching. My original major was sports medicine. I changed over from that at that point in time, and I knew this is where I wanted to be, and very thankful for the opportunity that I've had, and I just believe the good Lord placed me here, and I'm just happy to be here.
I've been to an awful lot of programs across the state in the last 35 or 40 years, and I can't think of any place, if I was going to be a head coach, that I'd rather be a head coach than at Gordonsville. It's a very special place in my heart, and I know it is in yours too, because you wore that Tiger uniform.
Well, you know, we traveled in the last 2 weeks. We've been from Dover, Tennessee to Coalfield, Tennessee, and we've carried a bigger crowd with us than both those teams had at home. So, you know, football is important here, and it's a great atmosphere when you play here. But also, we go on a road. We carry a lot of people with us because we understand, you know, what we're playing for our community, and those people come support us.
Coach, when you look at your defense, I think that's been the staple of your program this year, and really, I guess, just putting the screws to everybody and holding people to very few yards and very few points. Case in point, holding Coalfield to under 100 yards last week. And that's not just a run-of-the-mill team. That's the 8th ranked team in Class A. Your defense has just been swarming to the football, and all 11 players seem like they're on the same page of the playbook.
Guys, that starts with Coach Petty. He's our defensive coordinator, and you know, he has us a great game plan every Friday night. And we watch film, and you know, he has that ability to watch other people and try to figure out what they're doing, and then you know, our motto is we're going to try to stop what they do best and make them do something they don't like to do. And you know, our young men have played extremely hard this year on that side of football, offensively too, but defensively we seem like we're like you said, we're getting to the football, we're making tackles, and we're pretty active over there.
Coach, losing 2 of the players that you lost on the defensive line, and Lucas Carter and Randall Ray, a lot of people thought, well, you won't be as good defensively. But when you stick Dudney in there and Greer and some of those folks, Coach, and I know they got great experience a year ago, but it seems like they have elevated even another notch higher to make your team defensively solid across the board?
Well, we've got some guys on that side of the ball that can run. You know, the game of football's changed a little bit. It's not line up in double tights and smokestack eye and come at you anymore. It's a perimeter game today, and being able to run and make tackles in space is probably more important. And you know, we've got some guys that are inside backers that can run. You know, we got Mitchell Chapman and Kanan Musgrove. Both those guys are able to move. And you got Greer and Dudney on the outside. Our secondary's been pretty solid all year. We've given up a couple. You know, we've blown a couple assignments here and there, but Coach Shaw does a really good job of those guys. You know, they're coming up making plays, and you know, when it gets time to throw the football, then we're getting after the quarterback. I can't remember a year we've had more sacks than we've had this year. So. You know, those guys they understand the situational football, and we're doing things to get people off the field.
Coach, what's the most satisfying thing for a high school football coach these days? You talked about how the game has changed quite a bit, kids change quite a bit, but what really makes it satisfying for you as a coach?
Well, you know, I tell these guys all the time, I want them to be productive citizens and good husbands and fathers at some point in time. And you know, I saw a young man a couple this has probably been a month now. Time goes by so fast. I saw him at Walmart, and you know, and hadn't saw him in a while. And we were talking, and you know, that's the reason why people coach, is because you want to see what those young men turn into at some point in time later on in life. Now, we all want to win. We understand that. And, we enjoy the grind of trying to prepare for another team and all that. But ultimately, it's about you know, being a part of these young men's lives and trying to make them a better person.
Coach, when you look, and maybe this doesn't have as much to do with it as maybe I think, but when you look, just about every one of your coaching staff members played there at Gordonsville. I know Coach Shaw was another Tiger at Macon County, but when you look, Coach, it's a list of alumni that you have on your staff, and they know how important it is each Friday night. That's evident by the crowds, but just how much that people in Gordonsville live for each game.
I'll tell you a story on Coach Shaw. Our first bonfire we had, he said he'd never experienced anything like that. And at that point, I think he realized how important football was around here. And, you're right. Most of the guys on our staff played here. And at one point in time, they may think they were better football players than they were. I'm just kidding. They were all really good football players. And it is important. And they understand that. And, a lot of them, their parents played here, so it's a neat place, and we've got a good coaching staff. We've got a good group that we enjoy being around each other, and we go out there and we try to work, with the kids as hard as we can, and try to get them prepared to play. And I tell people all the time, we're not the best coaches in the world. If we was, we'd be getting paid a lot more money, but we do care about this place, and that's important.
Coach, how much has the facilities upgraded? And, you've always had a great field, but, to have that facilities upgrade, have the indoor facility, weight room and all that you have made definite big strides, and a lot of people have made big contributions in order for you to have that. Can you tell that that's taken your program to a next level?
Well, sure. I mean, our weight room, we needed a new weight room, and it was time to do that. Coach Baden, the principal at high school, he said, let's try to see if we can make this happen. And our locker room was not big enough at the time, so we created a better space for us to dress in. And, our weight room's as nice as any single-A football program in the state of Tennessee, and our young men enjoy it, and they get an opportunity to go in there and work out. It's something they're proud of, and, they take care of it. And, it's helped. There's no doubt about that.
Scott, I've seen that new facility over there, and it's nicer than a lot of 5A and 6A schools. That's a load to be proud of. And I remember when I got the tour of that new facility over there, and that just, like Terry said, that kind of put Gordonsville into a very special league as far as 1A football goes.
Yeah, we're proud of it for sure. And those guys, some of those older guys remember our other weight room, and they, but a lot of these younger kids don't realize what we come from.
Too bad we don't have some pictures of that from back during the Turning Forward era, right?
That's true.
Coach, when you talk about Turning Forward, you talk about Mark Medley, and the great coaching that they administered, and a lot of times with not a lot of staff. It built a tradition at Gordonsville that really has carried on through the years. And when you look at your state championship and state runner-up back in the mid-'80s, then in 2012, in what was one of the greatest high school football games I ever saw, you get the state championship. I think that was over Huntington. So, when you look at that, there's big shoes to replace there, but I think you're carrying that tradition on just fine.
Well, it's, I had the opportunity to work with or part of a lot of those guys, and, I never got the opportunity to coach under Coach Ford or play under him, but I've been around a lot of guys that did, and I'm a historian myself, so anytime that I run across anybody that had the opportunity to play for him, I ask them questions. And most of the time I'm getting the same answers, that he cared about his school, and he cared about those young men, and that's what we're trying to do here. Just let these guys know that we're here for them, and we're going to go out and work as hard as we can every day. And we have some good days in practice, and we, like everybody else, we have some bad ones, but we got to go out and do the best we can. And our motto is every week we're going to try to get better. We want to see some improvement from the last week to this coming week, and if that happens, by the time you get to playoffs, you'll be playing your best football.
Well, Coach Clemons, we appreciate the time. I know you got to be excited, as are the Gordonsville fans, that you're ranked in the top 5 of the state in Class A, and good luck the rest of the year.
We appreciate it. Thank you guys for what y'all do.
We'll look at the Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week, plus get the Guru's matchups and his picks when we return to the box score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
There's no shortage of real estate companies out there, but there's only one Blackwell Realty and Auction. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction has the knowledge and the experience necessary to help you. They understand that real estate sales happen because of the hours of work they put into every sale, whether representing you as the buyer, the seller, or both. Get started today the Kirby way. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction. Call them today or visit blackwellrealtyandauction.com.
2 delicious options, 2 convenient locations. So make the entire family happy with just one stop to KFC Taco Bell. Located at 501 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville and 105 East Broad Street in Smithville, we've got you covered at KFC Taco Bell, no matter the food craving. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead, get in the car and kick that hunger to the curb with a quick visit to KFC Taco Bell. Located in Gordonsville and Smithville. Stop by today.
Does the service from your security company leave you feeling uncertain? Like us, you want to feel good about your security company because your home and family safety is so important.
For just $99.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and 3 months of monitoring. It's super easy to get started.
You're ready for local security service. Give us a call or visit DTC online and discover our local values today.
Powell & Meadows Insurance, in business since 1894, provides knowledgeable and personal service to our clients. One call puts you in touch with a local agent who will help you shop from a variety of top companies. At Powell & Meadows Insurance Agency, we work for you. Call today or visit us online anytime.
We are here to help you. Let us show you what customer service is all about. Give us a call today.
The Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition encourages our teenagers to be the positive influence. Stand against the epidemic of opioid and stimulant usage by joining the Youth Coalition #TakeBackTeam. 6% of Smith County students reported misusing prescription drugs. The #TakeBackTeam challenges you to stand outside the stack. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
And welcome back to the Box Score, sponsored by Blackwell Realty and Auction and the Josh Kirby team. And we're going to take a look. Murphy and I are now at the game of the week. It's Joe Burns at Gordonsville, and Murphy, Gordonsville is an awful special place to watch a game, and just the atmosphere there is fun.
Well, I'm so glad they named it after Coach Ford. I moved to Smith County back in '76, and he was still coaching at the time, and I can still hear that laugh in the background when something came up funny, but how appropriate to have that field named after a guy who made such an influence on so many people.
Definitely did. And you know, when you look at Coach Ford, one of his best friends was Bill Big D Landreth, who the Smith County High School gym is named after.
Sure.
And then the field now named after him. And I've spent a lot of days at Green Hills Golf Course, and the tales between those guys, I would give anything if we had them on film. When you look at the Gordonsville and Joe Burns game, Murphy, I think Gordonsville, you know, definitely got maybe the upper hand talent-wise, but Joe Burns is a team that will fight you. This series began back in 1981, marks the 10th meeting. Of course, they've just, in the last few years, gotten in the same region. Gordonsville leads that all-time series 7-2. The second year in a row that the game is at Gordonsville. Of course, when you end those 2 years cycles, the first of one and the other one, then sometimes that happens. You know, the Tigers won last year 30-6. Coach Clemons has never lost to Joe Burns, but the Red Devils over there, you know, it doesn't seem like it's that far from Clarksville when you look at
it's not.
Robertson County and going as far as you have to go. But, you know, Coach Atkins there, he's been there forever. He played there. He's going to bring a team that's going to fight the Gordonsville Tigers on Friday night.
They're going to be very well prepared. And there's so many similarities between these schools, these communities, these football teams. I dare say virtually everyone on Tom's coaching staff used to wear that Red Devil uniform also. And it's a very fun place to go for a high school football game. They've got the pavilion with all the picnic tables right outside the concession stand. You can go and have your pregame meal right there beyond the end zone. it's a great place to go.
And it's an event, just like it is at Gordonsville. It's an event when they go there. Let's go ahead and look at Murphy's matchup. The Guru going to do some picking for us now. Murph, take it away. East Robertson and Watertown.
Well, I think Watertown should hold the upper hand. You mentioned an injury situation to the Taylor kid at East Robertson, the great receiver, but that's about all East Robertson has, and Watertown's a little multi-dimensional there, so I think that one should be a Purple Tiger win without too much trouble.
All right, the Lions of County going to Grundy County.
Well, they got hammered pretty good in Smithville last week, and I know that Coach Daniel has been working hard, he and his staff, with those kids. If they can go on top of the mountain and come away with a win, I think that puts them into the playoffs, and I've just got to think that Cannon County can do that very thing.
All right, the Owls of Smith County going to Nashville and playing Stratford.
Well, you talked about Trousdale County's speed and how it showed its strength last week against the Owls, and I'm afraid if they don't bounce back a little stronger against that speed, they may have another mark in the loss column. I think Smith County's going to the playoffs, but they desperately need to get a win against Stratford to boost them up to at least second place in the league. They've still got East Nashville to deal with as well.
Of course, the quarterback, Peyton Hicks, likely going to be out because of concussion. Didn't play the second half of the game down in Hartsville. Looking at Cab County at Livingston, I think it's a Tiger victory.
That's a no-brainer right there. Livingston really struggling. The Cab with just one setback, and I think the Tigers are a team that are kind of playing their best football right now, which is the best time to be playing that way.
Of course, our Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week on DTC Sports. You got Joe Burns going to Gordonsville.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I think Gordonsville, there's so many similarities between those two teams. Good country kids who know the meaning of hard work and what it takes to get to the top. But I think Gordonsville's just got a few more athletes than Joe Burns does at this stage of the game and of the season.
All right, let's look at some area picks. You got Smyrna at Cane Ridge, Murph.
Smyrna undefeated, as is Cane Ridge in Region 6-6A. Cane Ridge has an offense that has outscored Smyrna in regional games 151-77, but they played. Cane Ridge has played the one more regional game, and Smyrna still with that 2-1 edge. I'm going to have to go with Smyrna in that one.
Warren County going to Manchester, playing at Coffee County.
You know, those two teams have probably been playing each other as long as anybody around here. Warren County under Coach Turner, he's done a good job of turning that program around. They're 1-0. They missed their first couple of games of the season because of the COVID situation in McMinnville. But Coffee County's 2-4, haven't won a regional game, and the winner gets the inside track for a playoff bid in that region. And I think that winner will be Warren County.
Of course, Oakland, an extra day to prepare for Blackman, and that's always a big game, but Coach Kevin Creasy's squad just continues to roll.
I tell you what, we mentioned the fact that I was at that Lipscomb game last week, and that was everything that high school football is all about. Before that game, Oakland was rated number 11, not in the state, in the nation, by one rating service. And with that win over Lipscomb, I haven't seen the new ratings, but Oakland all the way in that one.
Forest at Cascade.
Another regional title game, both teams 2-0 in the league, and I think it'll be a good one. I'm going with Cascade.
Okay, we want to thank everybody for watching the box score this week, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Kirby team. For Justin Malden, Nick Noakes, and Janie, we appreciate everybody watching us, and we'll be here next week. And the playoff picture's kind of murky right now, but we're going to know more, Murphy, as this thing rolls along.
It's getting clearer every week.
It definitely is. And for Murphy Fair, I'm Terry Collins. Good night from the box score.